On the last Shabbos of Elul, we don't say Birkas HaChodesh for Tishrei. Even though Birkas HaChodesh is a kind of a perfunctory thing, I mean, it doesn't really have to do with being Mekadesh the Chodesh, because the new moon is based on, or the new month is based on the intercalated calendar that we use. Nevertheless, in memory of the way it used to be, we announce Rosh Chodesh and we say Birkat HaChodesh on Shabbat morning after Kriyat Torah before Musaf. But on the last Shabbos of the month of Elul, which is the time that you should say Birkat HaChodesh, we don't say the Birkat HaChodesh of Tishrei. The Magen Avraham explains this because of a pasuk in Tehillim. Tehillim Pei Aleph Daled, where it says, B'keseh liyom chagenu. Keseh means to cover something up. To cover something up. B'keseh liyom chagenu. Tiku b'chodesh shofar, b'keseh liyom chagenu. That there's a kind of a cover up which has to do with the new moon of Tishrei. And this idea is further perhaps supported by what the Machzor Vitri, which is from Beit Midrash of Rashi, what the Machzor Vitri says, and it was kind of la'arbev et Satan, right? The Satan is on our backs, Chodesh Tishrei, so it wouldn't be reasonable for us to announce in Shul that Chodesh Tishrei is coming Tuesday and Wednesday. I mean, who might hear? The Satan might hear. The Aruch HaShulchan, who is less impressed by these kinds of mystical interpretations, he says that you can't, since the same day is called Rosh Chodesh and is also called Rosh Hashanah, so by doing Kiddush HaChodesh in Shul, you would call Rosh Hashanah Rosh Chodesh, and that's kind of, that's not acceptable. So that it would seem that while there's clarity about the fact that we don't bench Rosh Chodesh on the last Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah, there are different reasons that are proposed. There are different reasons proposed, and maybe it is true that that Rosh Chodesh is simply not available, since we know there was a very early takana, Shedkalkalu Levian Bashir, that after all, it was very hard to know, even at the time of the Beit HaMikdash, if today was Rosh Chodesh or not, since the Eidim could have come until late in the afternoon, and therefore people might have made a mistake and decided it was Rosh Hashanah, or decided it wasn't Rosh Hashanah, and then the Eidim show up. So that it was very early on that Rosh Hashanah was determined to be 30 days after Rosh Chodesh Elul. And that's why Rosh Hashanah, even though it represents 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, the first day of Tishrei is also the first day of Rosh Hashanah, Aleph. The first day of these 2 days is Aleph Tishrei, and the second day is Beit Tishrei, whereas all other occasions where there are 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, the first of them is the 30th day of the previous month, and the second of them is the first day of the next month. So that while it's clear and acceptable to all that we don't bench Rosh Chodesh on the Shabbos before Tishrei, it's not clear what the reason for that is, and a variety of reasons is reasonable. These reasons are all reasonable, and it's important to remember both the fact, the halachic fact that you don't bench Rosh Chodesh Tishrei, and that there are a variety of reasons explaining why this might be the case.